You're listening to episode 35, Beverly Hills Cop 2, directed by Tony Scott. Is it better than the first? Let's find out in today's episode of Video Villa Podcast. So in lieu of it being may there be a sequel? Logan, so witty.
Hey, that's pretty good.
It is very good. It was a very good idea.
Everyone burns in the ground, may the force be with you. Now, may there be a sequel.
Oh, I was going to say, it's going to be May.
Well, it's funny because we are actually filming this on May 1st.
Yeah, so we are kicking off May with May There Be a Sequel. That is our rendition or idea of May.
Yeah, that's our theme for this month. We're going to be doing sequels of episodes of movies we have already reviewed.
Well, movies don't have episodes.
Well, episodes meaning episodes being the people
podcast.
Here. Yes,
Gotcha.
yes.
Us and our whole entire live crowd.
Yeah, we've got...
Of our cats.
We got one cat. One cat's over here.
It's one more than we usually have. Well, it's like usually somebody's around always. But anyways, so with our first sequel, since we've already done Beverly Hills Cop 1, which, do you remember what episode that was?
I don't, but if you want to watch it, I'll put a link right here.
Go back and watch all of them up until this point.
Exactly. And then I'll put a link right here for that episode.
So we kicked it off with Beverly Hills Cop 2 for May There Be a Sequel because I think we both really enjoy Eddie Murphy just in general.
Well, yeah, I mean, classic.
I thought you were going to be like, well, no.
No. Classic. Well, I told you, I had this idea, which I want to do, but I don't know how it's going to work out. Maybe in the future, we'll find out if it worked out. But I want to have a Eddie Murphy party where people come over to the house and they dress up as different Eddie Murphy characters. Because he's been so many different characters, I feel like that'll be an easy one because he's been in so many movies. I just think that'll be funny to see
I had a birthday party for Logan once, a surprise birthday party where everyone dressed up like Logan.
Yes, you did. That was fun.
It was a good party.
I like that. I showed up the first time I showed up not wearing shorts. I'm like, everyone's wearing cut off shorts. I got to go home and change.
Yeah.
I came back and cut off shorts.
Yeah. He's the only one that didn't show up looking like Logan. Plot twist. To his own birthday party.
Well, it's a surprise birthday. How am I supposed to know?
You weren't supposed to know, but why would you ever wear something different than you always wear?
That is true.
We did try to convince Rob to wear your kind of gym shorts that you wear.
Oh, yeah.
No one bought it. Worth the shot. But anyways, so so we're going to kick it off with Eddie Murphy. We do have a few other episodes locked and loaded for later on this month to bring you guys that are sequels to ones that we've already reviewed. And then the gimmick is at the end of the episode, we will share if it was really worth the sequel or not, or if the sequel is better.
Yeah, whatever.
I'm along for the ride.
Yeah, no. Whatever sounds good. I mean, pretty much they're both one and the same. And we're going to let you know what we thought of. Is it better than the original?
Okay. All right. We'll kick us off with the background that you have on the movie.
Oh.
Moving along. I'm ready for bed.
No. No. I mean, this movie was, when it came out, it was a huge success.
Yeah.
The first one was incredible. Everyone loves the first one. I love the first one. I think it's by far probably one of Eddie Murphy's best films. I'm sure there's some hidden gems out there. But this one right here is easily disputed as probably I would say probably his most well-known film.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one, it broke records for 1987. It had the biggest opening weekend. And that record was temporarily held by Temple of Doom. It beat Temple of Doom's opening record.
Light bulb. So when I was reading over the notes, so we obviously take notes for these episodes and stuff. I saw Temple of Doom and I was thinking about the game show.
Oh,
Hidden
Legends of the Hidden Temple. Yes.
Yeah, that's what that made me think of.
No.
Yeah, I really obviously I know that, but still made me think of it.
But it's kind of crazy. So like, we talked a lot about the original and the backstory of the first one, how Stallone was attached. That some of that is there's some homages to that in the film, and we'll get to it when we get to those scenes. But the original did so well, they wanted to kick off and started doing a TV show. That was that. There wasn't the idea to make a sequel. They wanted to bring Eddie Murphy back to television because he had just got off of Saturday Night Live for making Beverly Hills Cop 1. It's been 2 years, so they wanted to come back to basically primetime TV and make a TV show. Eddie Murphy was not okay with that. He was like, first off, it's not going to be able to have the same kind of humor. I mean, in the 80s, not a lot of cussing on TV. You know what I mean? I mean, to be honest, I don't think we saw cussing, like major cussing on TV until freaking WWF. I mean, literally, that's the first time I remember hearing ass, shit, all that kind of stuff on TV. And then soon after, I mean, mind you, it was still going on at the time, but they always bleeped it. But I remember soon after that, that's when South Park stopped bleeping shit.
Yeah.
And we really started getting what we get a lot. We have pretty much every cuss word except you can't just say asshole and the F word.
Yeah. The F word, they still kind of monitor and stuff like
that.
Yeah.
And asshole, because that's a vulgar sense of describing someone's body part.
Yeah, and no one uses the C word.
No, well, yeah, of course. Yeah. C word's never on the table. Never on.
I missed the memo.
But so Eddie Murphy was not down for that. And yes, Kitty.
Without fail, now we have both cats.
He was not down for that. He was if he was going to come back, he wanted to do a movie. They were originally the original idea, I don't never ever made it to a script, but the original idea was to put it in Paris and London.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, it would have been cool. I mean, but they were, Eddie Murphy was like, I'm not traveling outside the U.S.
You want to know who has gone to Paris?
Who?
Mary-Kate Ashley.
Is that low key that you're saying you want to review that episode?
No one want to listen to that.
I have that VHS. That's one I do have. Yeah.
No one's going to listen to that.
We'll do a poll on Instagram. I'll put this clip and we'll do a poll.
Nah.
No, never mind.
I mean, we'll get your guys' insight. I'm not going to promise I'll do it. I'm just thinking about it.
So Eddie Murphy was like, no, I'm not leaving the U.S. I'm not doing any of that. If we're going to film it, it's going to be in the States. And so they pretty much scratched that idea. This is when Eddie Murphy had actually control of some of the story. He actually come up with some of the ideas for the story. So he has a story credit and writing credit in this one. Nice. He wanted the Taggart and Rosewood to get back together with the whole gang, and he wanted to continue a storyline kind of where we left off. So as you can tell, like with this one, like they grow their relationship. They've been keeping in contact and stuff like that. You see some clips of like doing fishing trips and stuff like that, which that's where the movie starts with him. Like, hey, I got to cancel the fishing trip and so forth.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. It's kind of weird. It's like, is it really going to go back to Beverly Hills? But I think the way they pulled it off was nice. Like, it made sense for him to, of course,
something came up and he's got to go back.
He's been shot. Like one of my good buddies has been shot, and I need to go back. You know what I mean? So that I thought that was pretty cool. So Tony, the rumor is that Tony Scott had an affair with Bridget Nielsen. On the making of this film. Bridget Nielsen being at the time the wife of Sylvester Stallone, which had been in many of Stallone's films. Two. So like, he had Rocky IV and then Cobra, which was basically all the information, all the script that Sylvester Stallone wrote for the original Beverly Hills Cop. He took it and made his movie Cobra years later. Which was before the Beverly Hills Cop 2. that's rumors. It does kind of like if it is true.
Me making a mental note to deep dive later.
And if it is true, it makes sense because soon after wrapping of this film is when him and Bridget Nielsen got a divorce. So if she did have relations with Tony Scott, it would make sense for the divorce. Or, I mean, it is weird that it's a rumor, but that happens. But you know, in Hollywood,
Hollywood,
that happens a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, people are fucking around a lot in Hollywood.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like marriage is a loose term in Hollywood, I feel like. I don't know. That's just my take on
Sweet Dolly Parton.
No, not my sweet Dolly Parton. one man only. She's stayed true to him. It's funny because he's like, there's like hardly any photos of him because he doesn't like be photoed. People thought for years he didn't even exist. I thought that was hilarious.
Smart woman. If he didn't.
And so in this one, actually, it is funny. So Lieutenant Bogomil, Ronnie Cox, he gets shot very beginning of the movie. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen the movie, but we're about to get into it. But he gets shot at the very beginning of the movie. In the original script, he actually had a bigger part, and he was actually going to be in more of the scenes, but he was also filming RoboCop at the same time. So that was taking a lot of his time. So they had to like kind of write those scenes out. But originally it was just going to be, all four of them throughout the movie.
Oh, gotcha.
And then this movie was the first time that we got word of like Eddie Murphy being a little bit of a prima donna, kind of difficult to work with. They said like he showed up late a lot. I mean, a lot. Almost rarely showed up on time, which time is money and shooting movies. So, they're still shooting on film and stuff like that. So a lot of things are all time sequenced out for the day and scheduled. And if someone shows up late, it really just, it fucks everybody else. And also
it's also poor like professionalism.
Well, also the thing is that costs the studio money.
Yeah.
If someone shows up 3 hours late, those people on set, regardless if they're doing anything or not, the mic guys, the camera guys, they're all still getting paid regardless if they're filming because of the unionship and shit like that. So, you got to think of like someone shows up 4 hours, 3 hours late, that's 4 to 3 hours of overtime. If they're already in overtime, that's double overtime.
Yeah.
The only reason I knew that like that because like when I was in college, when I took my film class, we actually had someone from who had made films and stuff like that from a studio came in and like did not like a lecture, but talked to the class and try to explain and telling people like, if it's something you're interested in, there is, in some cases, there is good money to be made.
Yeah.
Yes, you're working a lot, but I mean, you're getting paid double what your hourly rate is and so forth, and which happens a lot because the things are always like a lot of times they go behind schedule and stuff like that. Like I said, we do get some cool Cobra and Stallone references throughout the film, which is like a nice little nod to, I don't know if it's making fun of them. I played it all as kind of being playful because they did say when Stallone left the original film, he was had very good sportsmanship. Like it was completely fine. He was okay. It wasn't there wasn't like between the producers and makers of the film. There was no bad blood or anything like that. He was like, he was completely delighted and he just took whatever he created. He was like, well, I'm taking this with me.
Well, yeah.
Which is what they were
rightfully
complete.
so.
Because that's not how they wanted the original film to be.
Yeah.
This one is very different. I mean, it is still a comedy, but this one is much more of an action film. I would say the original films there's action scenes, but it's not really an action film.
What, the first one?
First Beverly Hills Cops. It is more of a comedy, but this one has like Tony Scott brought a lot of like action scenes.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about the guy that just came off of Top Gun, which is the reason why he got the part for the director is because of the way the studio liked how Top Gun did.
Yeah.
And you can tell the way certain scenes are shot. It's totally. It's 100% Tony Scott. He has a way of almost like the type of his cinematography and how the light comes in and the things that he chooses to focus on. Like a lot of his scenes, especially with like Top Gun and in this movie, you'll see the sun a lot in the horizon.
Yeah.
And the sun just lights up the screen. And that's totally like, was it Days of Thunder? big thing in Days of Thunder, which he also directed that one.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing goes for, which I love, True Romance. Same thing. He really focuses on having the sun light up the screen and
Yeah.
have almost being a character in some of the scenes. That sounds weird, but if you know when you see the scenes,
Is
you're
it
like,
the sun
oh,
from Teletubbies?
huh?
I says
Oh, the sun from telling. No, I'm
you
just
said
saying.
it's like a character.
Yeah, well, okay, like, maybe I'm not using the right words, but insert correct words here, but you know what I mean when I say
I get what
that.
you're saying. Yeah,
Like,
he feeds into like the natural element that he has.
yeah, and it's like I said. I mean, I just list almost what 4 movies that all have the same look and vibe, and you can definitely tell.
Yeah. I mean, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Exactly. Tony Scott actually wanted Hans Zimmerman to score the movie, but they had Harold Faltermeyer come back, which was the famous Axel F guy who did the original score. But it's kind of funny because he wanted Hans Zimmer to come and do the film, but soon
Is it
after,
Hans or Hans?
I think I don't know, Hans. It's probably Han Zimmer. I don't know. I've heard it say both ways, so who knows? That's like Brendan Fraser or Fraser. You know what I mean?
Whatever.
But it's Fraser, like a razor, apparently. I just watched that in a video. I don't know. In case you need to know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he came back to do the score, but it was cool because like soon after that, I mean, the score and True Romance is by Hans Zimmer, which is a really nice score. It's got a lot of little bells and jingles and stuff like that. He went on to do, I mean, shit, you name it, he's done it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's an epic composer these days. But this movie it's got a lot of nice witty one-liners. And this is also the one that introduces iconic look. If you see on there, he's got the Detroit Lions jacket, which in the third one, he has the Detroit Lions jacket again. And in the new Netflix movie, he's got the Detroit Lions jacket again. I am really actually excited for that. When I saw the trailer, I was like, I want to see this. There's things where like,
is it a Netflix exclusive?
I think so. Oh. I'm sure it's coming. I think it comes out in June. But I actually really want to see it. I think it would be fun because a lot of people are still around.
Yeah.
So it'd be fun to have them all back. And I think Joseph Gordon-Levitt's in it too, which I love Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Joseph, whatever. I think he's great, and it'd be really nice to see it. I looked up the director, and I don't really see he's ever really been known for like doing much. So I'm not sure of how it will turn out. Because I haven't seen any movies compared to see how how his directing style is. I liked the third one when I was little. It is the more like kid friendly one.
Yeah.
The 2 is definitely they definitely pushed the R more in 2. And it's crazy because this movie has a lot of similarities, but also being different at the same time.
Yeah.
It's kind of like they have like a special concoction. They kind of knew what worked, and they just introduced new elements. Like I said, a lot of the action elements. But do you have anything you want to say or before? Okay. Oh, was this the first time you've seen the sequel?
Yes.
Okay. Good talk. Do you want to read the back of the VHS?
Yeah, that's fine. It's hot up here.
Yes, it's very hot up here. We're in a loft.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Oh. Okay, so on the back, it is the 3 of them, and they are at the Playboy house or Playboy mansion. It wasn't really the mansion. I think it was just
Playboy mansion, yeah.
Yeah. The heat's back on, and Eddie Murphy is cool as ever in the sizzling smash hit sequel to Beverly Hills Cop. Axel Foley, Murphy, is back. Back where he doesn't belong. He's going deep, deep, deep undercover into the chic wilds of Southern California, unleashing his arsenal of blazing gunfire and rapid-fire gags against a gang of international munition smugglers. Back to our Judge Reinhold, and John Ashton as Murphy's crime-busting sidekicks, and Top Gun's director, Tony Scott, keeps the pace fast, furious, and funny. Nice. Who directed Fast and Furious?
Oh, I don't know. All I know is James
You're
Wan
supposed to be
directed
like
one of
my
them.
like little dictionary
Oh, I don't
with that
like those
information.
movies though.
I know, but the last sentence, I was like, wait a second.
Well, it's funny the fact that they say the heat is on, because this movie actually introduced a new song, which was the Shakedown, and they performed that was performed by Bob Seger, which sadly, Bob Seger, one of the best classic rock musicians around. I mean, hits after hits, Turn the Page, Night Moves, Gambling Man. I mean, just hit after hit after hit. And it sucks. That is his only number one hit. That was in the top, the Billboard Top 100. That was the only one he's ever made. That was number one.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy because like he has such a, but to find out a song from a movie is his number one hit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think that's so weird because I would think that like, I don't know, Night Moves alone. Turn the Page. How was Turn the Page not a number one hit?
Who knows?
I don't know.
Maybe just not for its time.
My mom went and saw Bob Seger in a concert. And I remember, and it's funny because I was like maybe 13 and I didn't really know who he was at the time. But it's funny because like I could have went with her, kind of went with my mom and my dad, but I could have went with, and she also went to go see John Fogerty too. And one thing she said was, she said nothing made her feel more old than when she saw them live because to see your like idols on stage now when you're like in your 40s.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, it's just, that was her like first like take back moment of being an adult. You know what I mean?
Makes sense.
But I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. So I guess we'll go ahead and get into the movie. So the movie kicks off with a jewelry heist. So it is a female robber and a crew of other people, and they break into at first I thought it was a bank, and then I realized it was a jewelry store. But they break into a jewelry store. One thing that drove me crazy was she kept saying eat the floor.
Yeah, it's like
instead of just like get down on the ground, or I don't know, one of the 5 million other things she could say that just didn't sound so weird.
Yeah, I don't know. Like sometimes some of the dialogue was like, who's writing that? Like, but I get it because the 80s and the dialogue. I mean, it's the later 80s, but like that now, like rewatching, like, oh God, just get down on the ground. Like that's all you gotta say. Eat the floor.
Yeah, that was so distracting to what was actually happening.
And to be honest, she's not the best actress. So, I mean,
I feel like I have no room to judge actors and their capabilities because I sure as hell can't. So I don't really know who's a good actor and who's a bad actor.
Well, I mean, you can kind of, I don't know, like, yeah, that's the, like, she kind of just got this. I didn't look into how she got the role, and to be honest, but it's more of like, they just needed like, I don't know. They just needed like a star, and at the time she was slowly like being a star.
I don't know who she is.
And I don't know, like, I mean, she was in Red Sonja, but which that didn't really do that well. I mean, the Conan movies do great, but that movie didn't really do that great. And she had very minor roles, and I mean, she's the main girl in Cobra. It's her and Sylvester Stallone basically in that entire film.
Oh, see, I've never seen that film.
And then Rocky IV, which when we saw Creed 2, she comes back in Creed 2. That's her. That's the Russian's mom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Which that's, huh? You don't remember?
No.
Oh, well, Creed.
I don't.
Never mind.
You thought I did. Gotcha.
All right, back to the movie.
But
so there's a giant jewelry heist, and basically we watch it unfold. I think it's kind of stupid when she leaves. She just shoots the shit out of the chandelier. It's like, what for?
Yeah, and then it comes falling down. But yeah, so she shoots it and falls down the floor, but then we pan over to like see what Axel's doing at that time. And he is still like working undercover, doing undercover things, and he's still in Chicago, right?
No, Detroit.
Yeah,
and it's very different.
Michigan.
It's very different this time around. Because if you remember watching the original, he was kind of like he was kind of like he was working in small crime, selling cigarettes. He was dressing all shitty, with like just like sloppy clothes and stuff like that. And it was more a lot of the original was shot more like in the bad parts of Detroit.
Yeah.
Obviously, this one, he's deep undercover. It's been 2 years, and he's got, it looks like a bigger assignment because he's wearing like fancy fucking jewelry.
Yeah.
He's wearing a $2,000 suit. At one
Which
point,
suits are so damn expensive for
for no
reason.
goddamn reason. It's clothes, it's fabric. I think it's so stupid. Don't get me started. I'll talk about it for hours. Buying a suit just makes me want to pull my hair out.
Yeah.
Whatever I have left.
That's a good one. Joe would like that one.
I'll clip that one.
So he is deep undercover, and while he's doing that, you realize that his old crew is still in Beverly Hills, and they are working, still like doing the same stuff that they were doing, just under a different chief than they previously were under.
Yeah, and the movie starts basically with Bogomil doing, like, we see Bogomil like going on a run, and all that stuff kind of takes full circle once we find out the end of the movie. But he's working on something.
Yeah.
He calls him up. Bogomil calls up Foley's like, hey, I'm working hard on something. I'm not going to be able to make our fishing trip.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, that's okay. I really want to show you guys how to fish. He's like, but I'm up to my ass in this credit card scamming, undercover thing. He's like, all right, well, I'll see you later.
Yeah.
And he's working on something that he's actually assigned to. And the new chief has been replaced. They let that know. It's like the new chief, they got a new chief, not the same chief from the last film, but they got a new chief from this film. And he's just been firing people left and right. And Haggard and Rosewood are some of the only two that are still around.
Yeah.
And then we have, Lieutenant Bogomil. He's still around. And so it's almost everybody else has pretty much been gone at that point. And they're having a hard time working on this alphabet case, which we find out was the
alphabet robberies.
The alphabet robberies. And that's what Bogomil's in charge of.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out what's going on with this alphabet robberies.
Yeah, so they're essentially trying to figure out what would be the next one based off the alphabet, so then they can kind of track down who's doing it and stop them.
Exactly. And the new chief just rips into what's called Rosewood and Taggart because Rosewood, Billy, he's been looking into the alphabet case, what he wasn't supposed to.
Yeah.
Which is mainly, it was supposed to be Bogomil's job.
Yeah.
And he just rips him a new one. I believe, if I can remember, he ends up getting pissed off at Lieutenant Bogomil and he suspends him, which he's like, I'm going to fight you on this. This is ridiculous. You're preventing us from doing our jobs and stuff. So he ends up leaving, the police headquarters, and he, I guess, is on his way home, and then he ends up, seeing a
car broken down and is trying to help the woman with the car broken down, which you realize is, it kind of looks like the woman from the bank, but she's wearing a black wig. Originally, she has blonde hair, and suddenly, while he's trying to help her get her car going, she ends up shooting him at the same time as her, what are they called? Not confidants, but the people that you do crime with.
I don't know.
You're
asking the wrong person.
It'll come to me at 3 a.m. this morning. I'm like, that's what it was.
But yeah, so she ends up shooting. Before she shoots him, she hands him a letter with the alphabet on it, and that's when she pulls off the wig and starts shooting him.
Yeah.
Which sucks.
Damn it, what is that word?
Confidant? I don't know.
No, I just said that.
Crew? I don't know.
No.
Assailants?
No.
We'll come back to this.
Yeah. 8 years later. No.
You're good.
Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah.
You're good.
Anyway, so they end up all shooting him, and then they just put the letter on top of him.
Yeah.
Thinking that he's dead. However, he's not dead. He's just, in critical condition.
Yeah, and what's like, this is like I said, this movie, it definitely has a different tone. The way scenes are shot, they're not really shot in a uplifting scenery.
Mm-hmm.
It looks a little bit more raw. I mean, the original had raw scenes where they actually, at the beginning of the opening, where they actually filmed bad parts of Detroit, like the ghetto and stuff like that. And it just looks like it really did paint a bad picture for Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
This one we don't really see a lot of that because it spends the entire movie is really in Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
But yeah, so. And meanwhile, Axel is on his credit card sting, and he basically meets up with his credit card dealer and trying to actually bring in the credit card scammer or whatever, who's basically a guy who's making fake credit cards, and he's buying a shitload of them. He meets him at this warehouse, and while he's waiting around, he's watching the TV, and he sees on the news that Bogomil has been shot. He immediately calls the Beverly Hills Police Department. They patch him through the hospital, and he gets a hold of, I believe it's Billy Rosewood. And he's like, he's okay. He's going to make it or whatever. Or I can't remember. It might have been Bogomil's daughter.
Yeah.
Also, they bring in a new character, just a little small character for this film, just to continue the storyline.
So that was his daughter?
Yeah, that was Bogomil's daughter.
Wife.
No. Oh, God, no. No, she was like 20-something. And Bogomil's like, the guy.
Okay, ages
Ronnie
are
Cox
so
is like
skewed in
50.
movies.
I don't know. He's much older. I'll say that.
Yeah.
But no, that's his daughter.
Okay.
Because she says dad and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. I missed that small detail. But yeah, so now Axel needs to, well, he wants to go there. He's going to try to help him. He wants to be there while his friend is injured. So he asks his assistant Jeffrey to drive his Ferrari because he needs to.
Was his friend Jeffrey?
Yeah.
He's not assistant.
Oh, well, I mean, they work together.
Yeah.
But,
they're both cops together. Just he is part of the undercover part.
God. So yeah, so he pretty much like loans Jeffrey his Ferrari, I guess, so it still looks like he's in town, that he hasn't left town. So his rules are to like still drive it around, make sure you drive around, but not with a bunch of people, and like lay low in it, but drive it around.
Yeah, it's a lot of this. You can tell this. Some of these scenes are just straight up ad lib. He's like drive it. He's just drive it like this. You know, get down in the seat, drive it like this. You know, sitting there. He's like drive it like this, like this.
Yeah.
It's really funny. Like there is a lot of like this movie is prime Eddie Murphy at like his top tier bullshitness.
Yeah.
Like he just is bullshitting through the entire freaking film, and you can tell like these scenes you can tell how they were written by Eddie Murphy on how he's acting. He's really playing into his strong suit as far as this film goes.
Yeah.
And oh my God. I love the scene where he goes in and starts talking to his boss, and there's tons of one-liners here. I mean, just great. Like his boss has the best quotes from the entire film. Like where he walks in and he just straights up, "Where the fuck you been at, Foley?" Because at this point, like he's been doing this sting operation, undercover bullshit for so long, and he's charging the Detroit Police Department so much money to keep up with this persona that he's trying to maintain to make him think that he's this, high dollar credit card buyer guy or whatever. And he's like, I was thinking about going deep undercover. He's like, don't think, Foley, think makes my dick itch. It's like, what the
Yeah.
But so he ends up saying, like, listen here, like, I need, I need $1,000 flash money, because what he's going to do is he's just going to take that $1,000 and use it to get the plane tickets to fly over there or whatever, to Beverly Hills. And he's, with his captain's just fighting him with it. He's like, listen here, you've caused nothing but, you've been nothing but a pain in my ass and caused the department so much fucking money. And, I would be crazy to lend you another $1,000. But then he's like, but if I don't come up with something, it's going to be my ass.
Yeah.
So I got to get something from you. And if me giving you that $1,000 is going to do it, I'm going to do it. But if they grill my ass, I'm taking you with me.
Yeah.
And that's when he's just like, he goes, okay, fine. That's fine. Here, I'll go deep undercover. Just sign off for my $1,000 and you won't even see me. I'll give me 3 days. I'll be gone for 3 days. And you won't even know I exist. I'm going to be so undercover. You'll be like, hey, where's Axel? No one's going to know or whatever. And he's like, I just sign off for my $1,000 and I'll be out of here and I'll be back in 3 days with something or whatever. And that's when he's just like, all right, I'll give you 3 days, but if you don't get anything in 3 days, it's your ass.
Yeah.
And that's where he's like, he's like, don't wreck that car. He's like, I'll take the best care of the car. I'll sleep. He's like, I'll eat, I'll sleep. What's he say? He says, I'll eat, drink, sleep in the car. I'll shit in the car. No, you thought I was going to say shit in the car. I'm not going to shit in the car. That'd be crazy. I wouldn't shit in the car. It's like,
You can tell that's Logan's favorite scene.
That's great. Oh, shit in the car. Why would I shit in the car? You thought I was going to say shit in the car.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that part's hilarious. And it just made me think of that Coupon Queen or whatever movie we watched where the guy shits in the car.
Yeah. I forget this actor's names, but that was funny.
Oh, no. He's supposed to be in a Chris Farley movie. He plays
nice.
the story of Chris Farley. He plays Chris Farley.
Oh. I'll have to watch that movie.
Whenever it happens, if that happens.
What? I thought you said it was happening.
Well, I mean, sometimes things like they say something's going to be made and it never actually gets made.
that's like, is the other Beetlejuice coming out?
Yeah, that's actually happening.
That's what I figured.
Filmed, like,
I gotta figure that out. Gotta go. Anyways, so he gets approved for the 3 days and he heads off to the hospital. So heads off to Beverly Hills to see Bogomil and see how he's doing. He finds a house to stay at, which is like just an abandoned house.
It's not an abandoned house. It's a house that's being like
for sale, like listed.
No, it's not for sale. It's renovations being done while they're away on vacation.
Yeah, so he's squatting. Essentially, he's being a squatter.
Yeah, he shows up and acts like he's from the board of.
And he tells them all to go home for the day and stuff like that. Yeah, so he's squatting in a house that's being renovated, and
he's with the city planning committee or some shit like that. And he's like, oh, they have the wrong plans, and once again he starts his bullshit. This house is supposed to be there's supposed to be no quarters, all circles. And he said there's like, you can't even make a house like that. I don't care. That's what the plans are. Obviously, this is wrong.
Yeah. And then he heads down to the police station to get more information on what's going on with these like alphabet bandits or robberies.
Yeah. So he ends up meeting up with them, Rosewood and
Taggart.
Is that after he gets to the hospital? I can't remember.
Yeah, I already said he went to the hospital. I thought that was after he went.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, so he shows up and he's talking to them and
you ain't catching me slipping.
And Rosewood's like, listen here, Axel, things are different. It's not like things are. It's all politics now. You can't just do your police job anymore. Okay.
Yeah.
Like if we're not on this case, if we work this case, it's going to be our ass. And that's when the new captain shows up and he's like, who's this guy over here? And once again, he
pretends to be a fortune teller.
He said, my name is Johnny Wishbone, and I'm from the Island of St. Croix, Johnny Wishbone, and I am a psychic. And I came down here to the Beverly Hills Police Department to help them find the alphabet bandit, but they don't want my help.
Yeah.
It's the dumbest excuse. No one would buy it, but it's still funny to watch.
So,
I would have guessed your name. Your name is Becca.
Yeah. Well, then the one guy just like tells him his
name. Your name is Bill. Bill. He's like, yeah. That's. I was almost there. You just said it. I was almost there.
So then following that, they check out the Beverly Hills Gun Club because they looked at a bullet from one of the scenes and realized, or from multiple of the scenes, and they realized it was the same bullet, but it was from a gun that no longer distributes the bullets.
Yeah, they were. It was like it was handmade specifically because they're not made anymore.
Yeah. Involved an existing gun that they still manufacture. However, this one was like not sawed off, but whatever. Nonetheless, so they go to the nearest gun club because they feel like that's a good starting point. And then they start asking questions about like what they go there as if they want to use the gun club to shoot guns just as normal attendees to the club. And they ask what year the gun is that they use, or the ammunition, I think it is.
No. He walks in because he takes Rosewood's vitamins.
Oh, yeah. I forgot that was this scene.
Yes.
And then that's when he acts like it's a bomb.
Yeah. No, it's not a bomb. It's
something.
It's uranium projectile devices, whatever. Obviously, uranium being
that would take out the whole building.
Yeah, and stuff like that. It's very sensitive, whatever.
And he's like whispering to the lady because he doesn't want to like ignite it.
When he walks in.
Okay, how about you tell the scene?
When he walks in.
I butchered it, but then I recaught myself, but you want to go much more in depth.
Well, you're skipping stuff. Like he walks in and he's got the waiter has the wine. He's like, what year is this? He's like, it's a 73. And he dips his hand in the water and rubs water all the place. He goes, yes, it's a 70. He goes, I know, that's what I said. And he walks, so now he's acting like he's sweating.
Yeah, I know.
And he puts down, the bag of vitamins, but he's acting like it's a obviously it is a time-sensitive device that needs to be handled with utmost caution and stuff like that. And basically through his bullshittingness, he ends up finding out where the guy they're looking for is and so forth.
Yeah. So the secretary lady ultimately like leaves it as his responsibility because on the way out is the office that he would need to go to anyway. So you get a lot of good back and forth banter as well because he's saying that he doesn't want to die because of his kids, and that's how his partner died, was delivering one of these devices.
Monique and Unique.
He does A to B. He doesn't care how B to C happens. That doesn't involve him. Nonetheless, it does get him in, and he makes his way into the shooting range where he sees the really tall blonde woman.
And he goes, "That's a big bitch."
Yeah. I leave these lines up to Logan because I know how much he enjoys it.
It's just funny because like he sees her, and when he first sees Bridget Nielsen, he walks up. I mean, she walks up and he's talking to her, and as he's talking to her, he starts to get on his tippy toes because she's 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
And I think he's 5'5", 5'6". I'm like, he's not really that tall of a person.
How tall is Adam Sandler?
I have no idea.
I feel like they're kind of the same height. That's why I asked.
No, Eddie Murphy's always been known for being shorter.
Oh.
Yeah.
So is Kevin Hart.
Well, yeah, Kevin Hart's very short. Yes.
Anyways.
But yeah, we get this funny little thing where they're just like, obviously they're shooting like blanks, but using lasers and stuff like that. And you get the funny scene.
Yeah, where he's standing behind her while she shoots, and he asks her if
how long does it take to shave those legs?
Yeah. He's like, "No, I'm trying to sell my grooming services." And she just kind of like shrugs him off. And then at that point, the manager of the or not the manager, I think it's like the assistant.
No, it's the manager of the gun club, the Kane character.
Yeah, Kane. He comes in because they've already started to get an inkling that like something's off with the guy in the gun range.
Yeah, the main boss.
Cop. Yeah,
the main boss is like, "Listen here,
that's a cop.
This guy is in our place. He's a cop. You said everything went perfectly and nothing went sloppy whatsoever based off the jewelry heist. But for somehow there's a cop in the gun club. He's asking questions he shouldn't be asking. So obviously you fucked up somewhere and you need to fix it."
Yeah. So he sends Kane in, and Kane just makes casual conversation, lets him know that they'll send him a gun kit to his house. What's the address to send it to?
Yeah.
So, Axel gives him the address to the renovated house that he is squatting in, essentially, and goes on his way. And then you get a scene where he comes back out to the car, and Billy's like, "Where's my vitamins?"
Yeah, and he gives him the money that he got from you. "Here, buy you some new ones."
Yeah.
He's like, "Do you sell my vitamins?"
Yeah.
Because he did that little funny with the reception. He's like, he is a bribing her. He's like, "Okay, you got to pay me to take this place. Take there." And he's like, well, she gives him $20, and he's like, I got twins, Monique and Unique, and I got to buy them new pairs of shoes.
Yeah. So then Axel heads to Bogomil's to try to find out more clues about what's going on. So he's moved on from this point, and now he's still trying to figure out where that next hit is going to be so they can try to get them beforehand or at that next hit.
Yeah, he's trying to find some clues. He ends up finding his running shoes, seeing that there's some clay on it, which is from when he was running at the old rigs where the horses were in the beginning of the film. He's asking his daughter a couple of questions. He gets another clue. He sees,
and his daughter tries to pull out a gun on him.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, "I'm gonna go shower," and he's like, "Don't shoot anybody in there." Don't go shooting, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And then he finds the newspaper clipping that he was looking at when he made the phone call to Foley, which is the Club 385. So he is going to go to the Club 385 with Haggard and Rosewood. I will say this scene,
strip club.
I've never seen women dance so uncomfortable.
Dress so revealing. I'm like, well, it is a strip club.
No. No, I've never seen women dress so uncomfortably
dance.
Take 2. Take 3.
Yeah.
I've never seen women dance so uncomfortably.
Oh yeah,
I don't know
what they were doing. They were so stiff and jerky, and
it looked painful.
Yeah,
like literally, a poor lady's just like nothing but like skin and oh my god, it was like. I mean, I've only been a handful of strip clubs, but I mean, no one was dancing like that.
He's got a wild side.
No, I don't. Hey, Cameron, Marty's Eye Candy Cabaret. You remember that? That was a shout.
It's a very small town strip club in Tennessee, and that should be enough information for you to paint your own picture.
Well, the funny thing was,
Yeah,
my daddy used to take me and my sister there when it was a convenience store to play pool. There was a convenience store that had a pool table, and my dad would take me and Haley there. We would play. We would get
you about to rat your daddy out on something?
No. We used to get Twinkies and stuff like that, and some RC or like Pepsis.
Oh, and then they switched a convenience store to a strip club.
Yeah.
Innovative.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Anyway, so of course they land in a strip club, which again is something that they did in the
first one. Yeah.
So you get some crossovers here. They find out that the owner of the club is also a big arms dealer, which kind of closes in a link on where they just were at with the gun club and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they're putting the things together. So basically, Bogomil was on to something, and now we're watching Axel
finish the job
and putting together what Bogomil put together. But the thing is, he can't talk to Bogomil because he's in the hospital.
Yeah.
He's been shot several times. So obviously he can't have these conversations trying to figure out where did you leave off, but he's all putting that together.
Yeah. So unfortunately, a shooting breaks out as they're leaving the club, though, and I'm pretty sure the shooting was targeted to them anyway.
Yeah. So they got the main boss man
was like, assigned to kill him, take care of him. Yeah. So that's when he makes his first attempt, but they get out of it. Then the the associates of the big arms dealer guy at the gun club, and they end up wrecking the car. All of them run over to try to see if they're with the car, and they're already gone.
Yeah, so Axel leans down, finds a matchbook, and this is when all the police show up.
Yeah.
The captain shows up, starts ripping them a new one. What the hell's going on? And he's like, he sat there, he's like, this guy again, what the hell's your problem? Why is he here? And then he pulls on, like, I'm part of an international task force for crime, and so forth. You can call my sergeant at this time back in Detroit, and he'll explain all this for you. And he's like, okay, so he goes, I am going to call that number. So he lets them off at that point, and they head back to Billy's, Rosewood's house, which is really funny because
Wait, I thought Billy was Taggart.
No.
Then what's Taggart's first name?
I don't know Taggart's first name. He
Okay.
always goes by Taggart. Taggart calls Rosewood Billy.
Okay.
And what's called
Gotcha.
Yeah, and then and so does Axel, but everyone calls Taggart.
Gotcha.
So they go to Billy's house, and when we get in Billy's house, he's got a bunch of plants, but he's also got a shitload of fucking guns.
Yeah.
And apparently this was a nod at producer Don Simpson during the making of the first one. I can't remember if it was on set or something. He opened up his trunk, and there's just tons of fucking guns in his trunk. He was showing them off. So they incorporate that into Billy's character for some reason. But yeah, so they end up...
and Taggart ends up being like, we got to talk about this. Like,
this is serious.
And they keep making that comment throughout this because he shows like an obsession with firearms and other artillery devices or whatever.
Yeah, he's got the switchblade at one point.
I think I called that right.
Artillery.
Yeah,
you got it, that word.
Yep. Moving on, because I can't say it again either. But yeah, so they keep making comments like, we got to talk about this. When this is over, we got to talk about this. Something's wrong with you. We got to talk about this. Yeah.
But yeah, so they end up, Axel brings up some things that he did in his past because he wasn't always a police officer, and that's brought up a lot throughout the movie. He's like, I wasn't always a police officer, so I know some insides outs of criminal life. And he knows a way how to get a fingerprint off of the matchbook. Yeah,
by one of the blue lights that Rosewood has. So
it uses the super glue.
Yeah, so they find out that they get the print to come up, and they take it down for analyzing, and they realize that it's that Kane guy's fingerprints.
Yeah.
So the owner of the gun club's manager, or whatever, his partner, the manager of the gun club, Kane.
Yeah.
It was his fingerprint.
Yeah.
So that's who tried to kill him. So then they come full circle with putting things more and more together.
Yeah, and then, but right before this is too, because when we're at Billy's house, just the last thing I want to add, it was when they're going through the house, they have a Rambo 2 poster, and then they have a Cobra poster, and this is our like little like nod at like Sylvester Stallone. The fact, you know, like kind of like, you know, it's kind of that little funny like, oh, because not everyone knew that. I mean,
Yeah.
no offense, but like I'm into movies and shit, but I didn't fucking know he wrote like the first one.
Mhm.
Well, he took over the script and rewrote it into something that wasn't made. So I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah. So from there, after they confirm the fingerprint, they head to the gun club. And again, Axel makes a comment about how he wasn't always a police officer, and he uses a gum wrapper to break into the gun club, and also shares a piece.
Yeah. He's like, hey, can I have a piece? He's like, it's my last piece. Tear in half.
Yeah.
You ever been? I've been there with Haley. Hey, can I have a piece? This last piece. Well, tear in half, Haley. Come on. Give me a piece. Especially zebra stripe gum. Oh, chef's kiss.
I never really liked the zebra
You
stripe.
didn't?
I like the spicy gum.
Oh, no. Big red.
Yeah, like the big red and the really heavy minty gum and spearminty gum.
I will say one of the most hardest times I've ever laughed was watching Talladega Nights, where at that one part where Ricky Bobby's doing the commercials, he's like, if you don't like Big Red, then fuck you.
Yeah, and have you ever had a spearmint snowball? That's Graham's favorite snowballs. I like spearmint, but I could never imagine eating a snowball with that flavor.
So, if water ice, snowballs, whatever you want to call them, they're called snowballs here in Maryland, but other places they would call them water
shaved ice, water ice.
And in Tennessee, it was shaved ice.
Yeah,
we didn't have snowballs.
Whatever, you chopped up ice in a ball.
Yeah, and it is good, but you got to get the fluff center.
Yeah, that's what Graham does.
Yeah, you get the fluff center, or if you're at Rita's or something like that, and you get ice cream center. Yeah, it's really good, but I couldn't just eat minty ice. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that.
Anyways, so they share gum. They do break into the office, and they find a clue, which are coordinates written down on a notebook, locked in a drawer. And while that's happening, the sergeant or chief of the Beverly Hills district that they are in doing this case does make a phone call to Axel's boss. However, it's Jeffrey that answers and covers for Axel.
Yeah, it's
hiding under his chief's desk.
So this is so funny. So he ends up calling him up, and he tells the chief, he fakes as a reporter, and he's like, listen here, we're going to interview this morning, so he can get the chief out of the office, so he can get in his office, so he can take the call. And it's funny because there's nods to the original one. There's nods to the original film. This is another nod to the original film where when he walks in, Jeffrey's the chief is like, "What the hell are you doing in my office?" Jeffrey's like, "This isn't my office. What the hell?" And it's like in the first one where he's ripping into Axel.
Elvira, when she was on the table when you came in.
So my cat was on the table, which she knows she's not allowed to be, and she jumps on top of the table.
And we didn't know we had left the house, but then we forgot something.
So I came back in, and she's on the table. She sees me, see her on the table, freaking out. So I'm yelling at her, "Get off the table!" And she's freaking out. So she doesn't. It's her brain's
like she forgot how to jump off the table.
It's delayed. And she's trying to get on trying to maneuver off the table. I'm like, "Get off the table! Get off the table!" And she's like, my head is just like she's saying, "Give me a goddamn minute. I'll get off the table. Just give me a goddamn minute."
Yeah. So,
but anyway, back to that was a nod to the original while he's ripping into Axel. They're in the locker room, and that's what Jeffrey says. He's like, "This isn't my locker," and he just walks off.
Yeah. So, so he got the phone call. He was able to take the phone call and cover for him, and then he leaves the office, obviously, because he's like, "This isn't my office. What am I doing here?" And at this point, it just seems like the chief is just like, "Forget it, just get out."
Yeah, pretty much.
Who gives a shit? While this is all going on, so
they find out that
I was thinking of a guy's name. That's what I was.
Oh, sorry.
What's Bogomil?
Bogomil?
Yeah, Bogomil. So Bogomil was B. So they did A, which was the jewelry store. They did B, and now they are moving on to C, which ends up being the city deposit.
Yeah, so that's where they find out where the location, the coordinates is the city deposit, where they deposit all the money for the city or whatever. It's a big international bank, whatever. That is their next hit. So basically, they are heading there and they're trying to get in. They're like, "Hey, you're being robbed," and then the bank's like, "What's called?" They're like, "Oh, I need you to open the gate." He's like, "Oh, under what authority?" And he's like, "Our authority," or whatever. And so they just start. They start shooting the alarm and tell them to authorize it or whatever.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny, but so obviously they're a little too late. They end up making it out, and we get a great car chase scene. I mean,
Steals a cement truck.
well, so Rosewood completely destroys his
Rosewood.
fucking car. Yeah, Rosewood.
You said Roadwood.
Whatever. No one probably would have.
You would correct me too. People know on the internet.
Okay.
And then they'll be in there with the little stupid comments. People.
Rosewood destroys his fucking car completely. And I'm sorry, there's nothing. I know that sounds mean. I mean, but I'm saying like not a real serious car crash because serious car crashes are not funny.
I don't
But
think anyone would be offended.
But car crashes in movies, I think, are just fucking hilarious because the first one. That semi-truck scene in the first one. Oh my God. I was dying laughing where it's just plowing through the city and running over things. Same thing here. This freaking cement truck is just tearing up cop cars. And they're just like, it's just ridiculous. Like at one point he hits this guy's car. And he's like, wait, I know that guy. He's an asshole. It's like, it's ridiculous. I don't know. Something for some reason always tickles me, and it was watching like car crashes like this. Now, like you've got like the Bourne Supremacy, which has some of the best car crash chase scenes and car crashes and stuff like that. That's not funny because that's more action. This is just hilarious.
Yeah. So then also Rosewood steals the cement truck. Yeah. Then they find the ditched vehicle and some footprints, so they try to find that. And when that happened, Axel picks Dent's pockets and finds another clue.
So they find out. They find the tracks and it leads them to the Playboy Mansion.
So they go to the Playboy Mansion, which is the scene that you get on the back of the VHS. In this, you get Hugh Hefner in it.
Yeah, I guess those are real playmates of the time. I don't know. Obviously, I wasn't watching. Yeah, I'm not looking at sure. Playboys in the 80s.
Yeah, but I don't know who was in the 80s. And then I thought you got someone else as well.
No, it was that was the only.
Hugh Hefner.
Yeah, I mean there wasn't any other celebrities. It was just Hugh Hefner, and then we run into the main boss guy.
Yeah.
And Bridget Nielsen.
Yeah, pretty much. And then you also get
Arms
there's
dealer.
the big bitch again.
Yeah.
He mentions that again. And then they go over to him, and Axel tries to tell Hugh, act like he knows Hugh Hefner, and tries to get the arms dealer and, the crew kicked out. However, it just ends up getting all of them kicked out.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's basically what he was trying to do.
Because Hugh Hefner's like, I don't know any of you guys.
Yeah, how about you all leave or whatever. But while he does that and just like...
But the way he got into the Playboy Mansion was saying he needed to clean up poop out of the pool.
Yeah, that was pretty good one.
Yeah, and she's
Someone pooped in the pool, I gotta clean it, all right?
Yeah, you want to see it? Yeah, I can show it to you. Nonetheless, so they all get kicked out. And when that happens, he also picks Dent's pockets and finds another clue. Who's Dent?
That's the main bad guy. His name is Dent.
Oh, okay.
He picks his pocket.
I didn't even think they ever said his name.
I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Oh.
But he picks his pocket and he ends up getting his wallet or something thing, and he obviously has information in it. So he finds a card for his accountant. So he's like, all right, well, who's going to know Dent more than his accountant? Because the accountant's going to have access to all his finances and stuff like that. So he's going to know him, more than anyone else would know him. So they go to the accountant's office. They act like his car is going to be towed. He owes so much money on parking tickets, and it's Gilbert Gottfried.
Yeah.
And we get this funny scene where he's like, "Don't you drive a black Mercedes with a license plate, blah, blah, blah." He's like, "That's not my car. That's my wife's car." He's like, no, you got to be this wrong. And he just picks up a phone. He's like, "Bitch."
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, it's funny. I don't know what else to say about that, but I wanted to say.
It's comical. So then they figure out the next heist location because they also find out that he has several properties or like loans or something like that.
Yeah, they start looking into his properties, his investments, and
his estates.
And then he gets with Bogomil's daughter and
Yeah.
finds out insurance information.
Yeah, where he's let all of them lapse, but this
But the racetrack.
Yeah, but the racetrack, the horse racetrack. So that they put 2 and 2 together and realize that that's where the next hit is going to be.
Yeah, he's going to rob the racetrack and then also receive the insurance money. So it's a double win.
Yeah. Insurance fraud, essentially,
Yeah.
along with stealing. So now it's the race to the racetrack to pretty much stop them in their tracks. And so the theft kicks off, and the head arms dealer guy is sitting there watching the race. So he's there like he's an attendee essentially at this point, watching it. And does the female have a name
I don't remember her name.
besides the big bitch?
You just keep on calling her the big.
That's what they kept calling her every time he'd see her. They go in and, they rob the underground portion for the gambling because obviously there's a lot of money handling at a racetrack. And in doing that, she also kills Kane because essentially Kane has failed the job and put this whole plan at risk.
But also we find out, I think she was going to kill Kane all along.
Yeah, I don't think she really liked him.
Well, because they were going to have him be the fall guy. So that was the whole point. They end up cracking the code. And if you watch the movie closely, he does say they'll crack the code. Dent, the main bad guy, he says they'll crack the code when we want them to crack the code.
Yeah.
And the last part is the racetrack. And they crack it during the racetrack because they want the fall guy to be Kane.
Yeah.
So they can get away scot-free.
Yeah, because they think, okay, the bandit's dead now.
Yeah.
The big mastermind's dead, so it's done.
Yeah, and so they're going to use and this is through Axel's detective work, basically, where he ends up finding out that they are going to use all that stolen money, and then they're going to buy guns with it.
Yeah.
And then he and the big bitch are going to leave the border.
Yeah.
And they're going to sell those on the black market for over 300 times.
Money,
300 times what they paid for them. So they end up finding out what's going on.
Yeah. So after they rob the horse racetrack, and then they take off to the oil mines, which Axel knows or has a hint that that's somewhere that they would go because of the clay on Bogomil's
his running shoes, and then he finds out where do they keep the horses?
Yes, at the oil mines or whatever,
oil rigs or whatever the hell you want to call that shit.
So this is where you get the final standoff because all three, so Billy, Taggart, and Axel, head off to the oil rigs and essentially like racing to get there to meet the arms dealer and his partner.
Yeah, and this is, like I said, when I say this is an action movie, there is a lot of action.
I'll let you go through the action scene.
Yeah, I mean it's just once we get to the end of the movie, it's just nonstop action.
Yeah, this is the end.
Yeah, and it's just explosions after explosions. We get the funny part with the rocket launcher, with Rosewood blowing up the entire truck full of ammunition and guns and shit.
Yeah. Where he's reading the directions on how to do it, and it ends up launching off and just like blowing up the whole entire truck.
And then so Axel ends up meeting up with Dent, the main bad guy or whatever, and he's basically got him like he's got him at the very end. It's like he is going to try to kill him, and the big bitch shows up, shoots a gun off or whatever. The evil mastermind bad guy gets away, and he ends up coming back with his car. And then right before he runs over Axel literally blows his brains out.
Yeah.
And then he ends up getting away. And right at the last minute, the big bitch comes back.
Yeah.
And then here comes Haggard. And then Haggard ends up killing the big bitch.
Yeah.
So, it's I will say the ending's kind of a mess. It's kind of dumb. You're telling me only these three guys were able to take on all those, because the thing is the cops don't show up till the very end.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was a little dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, I feel like the cops should have showed up a lot earlier to help him with the backup.
Yeah. But then it would be like old times.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, because the last one, it's only them three that took on
Yeah.
everybody.
And then everyone showed up too late.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then they get back to the squatting house and they essentially, say their goodbyes and stuff.
Yeah,
because the job's done.
the new chief gets fired.
Yes. Because the mayor finds that his treatment of his men or whatever, his police officers was just, disgusting and he didn't like it.
And abusive,
yeah. Yeah, and abusive, and he's never seen anything like that, so the mayor ends up firing the chief.
Yeah. Then we get back to the house and they're they say their goodbyes and so forth. It's funny because then we also we see the mayor calls Axel's chief back. And he's talking to him on the phone and he just wants to congratulate him on what such a good work Axel did while he was working in Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
Which he, obviously the guy didn't know.
Supposed to be there.
He wasn't supposed to be there. And then we find out that Jeremy has wrecked the Porsche.
Yeah.
Ferrari has wrecked the Ferrari. It's a funny little ending and stuff like that. It's whatever. And then pretty much roll credits.
Yeah.
And that's the movie. So with that all being said, I'll let you go first.
I like the first one.
Oh, you let me
more.
You let me ask.
I was ready. I already knew the question. We already set the boundaries in the beginning.
Yeah.
We set the gimmick in the beginning. I like the first one because we'll do this like a school essay. No, I like the first one because the first one had a lot of like character development.
Yeah.
So you actually got to like know the characters and really like them. And I felt like there was a lot more interactions and stuff and then learning each other, which I'm really for some good character development.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's a TV show or a movie. I love character development. This was kind of like you already know these people and this is going to be like another one of their adventures.
Yeah, so you don't like the whole like take off where the last one stopped kind of thing?
I mean, that's fine. That's the whole point of a sequel. I'm just saying I just like the first one because I really enjoy character development. There was no need for that in the second one. Mm-hmm. So I didn't really have anything to connect to in the second one.
That's valid. I understand that. What about the laughs? How did you feel about the laughs? You feel like it had just as good laughs or you feel like the first one was funnier?
I don't really think one was funnier than the other.
Oh, okay.
I think they both were in their own right. I didn't know this was going to be an interview.
It's not. I'm just asking you questions.
I didn't prepare for that. I prepared for which one did I like the most. Done. Check. Which one did you like the most?
I like the first one more.
See?
I like the first one. Well, I thought
you liked the second one more.
No, I need to ask you. I mean, I still need to ask you how you like it just because I already know how I like it.
What do you like more?
I do like the first one more. The second one, it's good. It's fun. It gets a little dark at times, but
I didn't really feel like it got dark or anything.
I really just the second one's got really funny lines that I really find are very funny.
Yeah.
But that first one's just so freaking good.
Yeah.
It's so good. And I feel like Eddie Murphy is doing a little too much of his bullshittingness and his ramblings. I feel like they made.
I didn't think it was no different than like Coming to America or any of those. It didn't seem like over the top.
Well, yeah, no. I mean, those movies are. I mean, Coming to America is, I think.
Well,
perfect.
I'm just saying, in Beverly Hills Cop 2, I didn't feel like Eddie Murphy was being any extra on top of the extra that he already usually is.
Yeah, I just like the thing. I feel like those situations they wrote for him, like the Island of St. Croix, the
I feel like they aligned perfectly with the type of stuff he does.
I know. I'm just saying I feel like they did a little bit too much.
Oh, gotcha.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like I feel like they relied on. Like I feel like they literally do it like 5 times throughout the movie. Yeah. I feel like that's just a little too much.
Yeah, it is a pretty fast paced movie. It's just like one and done, or it's like one after another and then. Well,
it's a true action film.
Yeah,
I mean, it literally is. I mean, that's action. That's the one.
That
cool
part
thing.
I like. That's quick movies. Chef's kiss.
Well, it was an hour and 47 minutes. It was not super short, but it feels quick because
I paid attention to an hour.
And you can tell.
No, I was pretty on top of it. Cut that.
But yeah, I like the first one more. I feel like as far as when it comes to our May There Be a Sequel,
yes.
I do like the fact that obviously we got more because we got the third one right here, and then we got a fourth one coming out. I'm still excited to see the fourth one, regardless. I want to see it, and I miss Eddie Murphy. And now that he's kind of got his shit back together, I really want to see him movies more.
Yeah.
He is very funny. What's My Name? I think it's called Dolomite's My Name. I can't remember, but the Rudy Ray Moore movie that he did on Netflix is amazing movie. I
Yeah.
love that movie. It's so good.
Yeah.
It was great, and I just enjoyed watching that so much. Just seeing Eddie Murphy back, and not like a stupid movie, just a classic like comedy movie that he's known for. So I'm excited to see Beverly Hills Cop 4.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, did we need it? Some people probably would say because people wanted it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It
they
made a
wanted to see
shitload
what
of
happened
fucking
to that
money.
group of friends.
You know what I mean? It didn't make as much as the first one, but it still made a good amount of
Yeah.
money.
Yeah, I mean, it did well. I think there was a purpose. It served its purpose. It wasn't that sequel where it's like, oh God, you ruined it.
Yeah,
It wasn't
yeah.
anything like that. But yeah, definitely let us know what you guys think in like the comment section, or like the video. What else?
Yeah. Let us know. Put in the comments if you thought it was good. What
Yeah.
was your favorite one? Are you excited to see the new one?
Yeah, and
I'll definitely like to read them and comment back. Man.
yeah, of course. And then also don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow for more episode updates, as well as access to previous episodes. We have those on our website and YouTube, as well as links in our social medias. And then if possible, don't forget to give us a review on your listening platform. That helps us know what's going on your side.
Yeah, it definitely helps push our content forward and get in some new ears so we can, grow the community that we've been working on. And the more the merrier. There's never enough friends that we can make. So if you can do that, it is free and it helps us out so much, and we would greatly appreciate it.
Yep. And with that being said, we will see you on the next May There Be a Sequel.